You don't even like sports.
Welcome to You Don't Even Like Sports, a podcast about sports, for people who don't like sports. With your hosts, Adam Todd Brown, and Jeff May.
Jeff?
Yeah, Adam, what's up?
Jeff, are you there?
It's me. It's Jeff May from Podcasts.
Oh, good. You're just who I wanted to talk to because I needed to tell you something, and
Great.
that is that you don't even like sports.
No, this is heartbreaking, Adam.
I know it's heartbreaking because
Why would
I
you
like
say that
sports, and
about
I
me?
wish
No,
we
that's-
had more shared
you're-
interests.
Here's the thing is you're fibbing. You're a liar. And
Oh.
it turns out, and this is very strange because I was reading an article about this the other day. It's that you don't even like sports.
Oh, will you send me a link to that article?
I absolutely will.
I don't believe you because I don't think it exists. Hey, everybody.
Let me just
Welcome.
log on to my Medium account real quick.
Welcome to You Don't Even Like Sports, a podcast about how Jeff doesn't even like sports.
No, it's about how Adam Todd Brown doesn't like sports. This is a fact.
We have arrived at the penultimate episode of the Diego Maradona season. Penultimate meaning next to last, which is something I didn't learn until very late in
It
life.
sounds weird, right?
Yeah, it sounds like just the best of the best episode.
Yeah, the absolute last, yeah.
But no, next to last. We are rounding third and heading for home. That is a sports reference, Jeff. Baseball.
I've heard
Baseball.
of grasketball. Is that what it's called?
That would be a good name for it. Lots of grass, but you could call football that too.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, what are we talking about
We
on
are
this
talking
penultimate episode?
The penultimate episode is actually, we're going to be talking about Diego Maradona and his political affiliations, primarily both his friends and enemies.
He had a bunch.
He racked up a few, some new names that we haven't seen on the show before, some old friends, as we're going to see.
Some old friends with golden ceilings. One of the people or entities on this list isn't political per se, but in his dealings with them, it kind of bleeds into politics.
Yeah.
He was always kind of a political guy during his playing days, but much, much more so after he retired from both playing and coaching. And given the amount of political activity he was involved in at the end of his life and the people he was involved in it with, if there was a conspiracy theory that the CIA killed Diego Maradona, I'd at least hear it. I'd listen to the evidence.
I probably wouldn't believe much about how Diego Maradona died because I also know how he lived. And if you'd be like, Diego Maradona's heart exploded, I'm like, in 1989, and then we've got a new one? Because that would be a conspiracy theory, I believe, as well.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about his death on the next episode. There is some weirdness around it. I mean, he was definitely somewhat neglected to death.
It has some interesting Death of Michael Jackson vibes, a little bit.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that next ep. That's short for episode.
Saves you time when you talk. Yeah, he was aligned with everyone America hates.
Yeah, like
Castro,
soccer, like
Maduro.
soccer, for example.
Yeah, like the sport of soccer, for one thing. Well, he not only was aligned with everything America hates, he hated America back. Case in point.
Why? Why would somebody in South America not like America?
Yeah, I can't imagine what your problem would be.
We're
with America.
neighbors.
Yeah. Can't you be neighborly? Good fences make good neighbors. That's all. He really hated America back. This is a quote from Maradona's appearance on Hugo Chavez's weekly television show in 2007.
The amount of TV shows that are just fucking bananas in this episode is fantastic.
Yeah, I feel like that's a thing you probably see in a lot of, I don't know. I'm hesitant to call Venezuela a dictatorship. I mean, Maduro's been in office a long time, but once you dig into that, I know John Oliver has a segment where he says what's happening in Venezuela isn't America's fault. He's wrong. We've been waging economic war on Venezuela since Bush was in office, and every president has kept it up, including Obama. So I'm hesitant to call it a dictatorship. They might just be trying to keep the country out of American hands, which is what it was in before Chavez got elected. But that's neither here nor there. I feel like those type of leaders love to have a TV show, or at least a radio show. And you kind of have to. If you're wanting to be
FDR in it, yeah.
Yeah, if you want to be the only voice of a government, you got to be the biggest TV star.
It is wild, though, because, like, you look at these people that are just so big and you're like, oh, you have a TV show. This is a thing you have. And that's just why it would be like if Obama had a show when he was president, like a regular TV show every week. And you'd be like, this is fucking weird. Like, it would be weird to me to see that.
Yeah, even Trump didn't do that shit.
No, his got canceled, actually.
Yeah, and if you'd expect it from anyone, it would have been him.
Yeah.
So here's Maradona's quote from that Hugo Chavez TV show appearance. Everything Fidel does, everything Chavez does, for me, is the best. I hate everything that comes from the United States. I hate it with all my strength. Jeff, that is an inflammatory statement.
I have problems with that, not the least of which is what about the cheesy gordita crunch?
And what about me? I'm from the United States.
Oh, he hated you.
Oh.
He told me that.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
If I knew that, I wouldn't have done this podcast.
What about a Whopper?
Yeah. Does Argentina not have a Whopper?
You don't have Whoppers? You don't like that?
Everyone loves a Whopper.
What about Argentinian steakhouses? We have lots of those here.
All right. So let's talk about some of the political friends and enemies of Diego Maradona.
Let's talk about the big guy, the first guy.
The main one, Fidel Castro, obviously. Maradona loved Fidel Castro.
They were like BFFs, like they were ink buddies.
He had a tattoo of him on his leg. I mean,
that is just badass anyway.
Yeah, it's a cool tattoo no matter what. And the fact that it's on Diego Maradona's stumpy little leg, that's just adorable. He once called Castro a second father, which it's a pretty big statement.
First father, by the way, Patton.
Yeah.
Weird, right? Like,
I thought it was Stalin.
That. Yeah.
I don't remember. They were so tight, they even died on the same day, November 25th. It was 4 years apart, but still.
Strangled by the ghost of Castro.
Yeah. Maradona was like, I'm coming with you. I just have to do a whole bunch of coke first. And then
like insane amount.
I'll be there.
Angel dust.
That's actually a different drug, Jeff.
But he graduated to angel dust.
I hope not. I didn't know Maradona gets wet. Oh, PCP, angel dust. Pretty much the same thing. So he interviewed Castro on his 2005 talk show. Same one where he interviewed Mike Tyson.
Same guy, basically.
Yeah, Castro was the only non-athlete to appear on the show. You think he got a little handsy with the... Do you think it was the same kind of atmosphere? Like all the dancing and women and smoke machines?
I do feel like that, but Castro was the smoke machine.
Yeah.
He's got that
fucking
big
cigars.
Hilarious-ass cigar.
Yeah, I guess we could dig up a clip. I'm sure it was the same. I can't imagine Maradona having a solemn Fidel Castro episode. Fidel Castro played soccer too, so he liked to have fun. When he asked Castro how George W. Bush managed to get reelected during that interview, Castro replied, fraud. The terrorist mafia of Miami. Maybe.
I mean, yes.
I believe the fraud part, if nothing else.
I mean, look, if you could be a member of a terrorist group, Miami.
Yeah, Miami's nice. And there's
Bienvenidos a Miami.
And there's all that water to escape to if people catch on to you.
Well, you want to party in the city where the heat is on.
Yeah. All night, early morning, break of dawn.
Till the break of dawn, yeah.
Yeah. Is that the song Nas wrote? No,
Party
that was getting jiggy with it. Never mind.
Good for him.
Yeah. So Castro also once encouraged Maradona to go into politics.
That probably wouldn't have been a good idea.
I don't know.
He doesn't seem like... I feel like you need a certain level of stability in the human involved in your politics, and I wouldn't classify him as being particularly stable.
Well, he just wanted to be vice president, so...
Yeah, there is that part where Castro's like, hey, we met while you were going through 4 years of rehab. You should get into politics.
You should run for office.
Yeah.
This is a quote. Fidel told me I should dedicate myself to politics, and I would go with her, with Christina. I see people suffer, people who cannot make ends meet until the end of the month. He was referring to Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner, former leader of Argentina.
It's upsetting that places where we always consider to be like second or third world nations are like, we're progressive enough to have women in charge.
Oh, yeah. The U.S.
so
is
wild to me.
way behind, obviously, in that regard. I feel like we're getting close. My concern is it'll be like a careful what you wish for situation.
We're clearly looking at that right now.
Yeah, it'll be like Ivanka Trump or something like that.
Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I would prefer Kamala Harris over Ivanka Trump for fuck's sake.
Obviously, but I'm saying people are like, look, go queen. She's like, and then we're going to change the name from detention camps to child camps. Or no camps.
Yeah, she's a character. At least she can do the electric slide though.
Hey, that's all I ask for in a leader.
Yeah.
So they are what we like to refer to as Millennium Buds. They met and became buds in 2000.
They met in the year 2000, to quote old episodes of Conan O'Brien show.
This was the Willennium.
Oh yeah, hold up. It was the Willennium. You're right.
My bad.
Yeah, they started hanging in 2000 because Maradona needed some treatment for cocaine and other drugs.
For the yayo.
And he wanted to come to the United States for that, and we were like, nah, please don't.
Yeah, which is interesting where he's like, I hate everything about the United States. How about your rehab? And it's like, oh man, you don't know, but our rehabs don't really work.
Yeah, well, I feel like this is why he secretly, because he can always lean on the excuse that we obviously wrecked major parts of South America in the name of fighting communism. Okay.
I'm sorry that Coca-Cola ruined you.
Get over it. But I think he was bothered by the United States denying him a visa just to come get drug treatment.
I feel like he takes a lot of things personally, which is because when you're a person, of course, but personally in the fact he was like, it's very much a Reese Witherspoon saying, don't you know who I am kind of a situation. And the United States of America is like, oh, you don't know, but we don't give a shit about your sport.
Yeah. And they're also like, of course we know who you are. We're the U.S. government.
Yeah.
We know every moderately popular figure in South America. Don't you worry.
Yeah, we don't need you driving a Ferrari into an orphanage.
So yeah, he ended up going to Cuba, and he was there for 4 years.
It's probably best for him, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, for one thing, they do have a very good healthcare system.
They have a very good healthcare system, and of course, everyone can get into trouble wherever you go, But with Cuba, it seems like there's a lot less sort of opportunity to fuck around and find out.
Yeah, they do things in Cuba called healthcare tours or healthcare tourism, where they specifically try to attract tourists for that reason, people who can't get treatment in the United States. And then you also get to go to the country where all the cars are still from 1957.
I should go there, get some new teeth.
Man, I've had dental insurance this whole time, and because of COVID, I've been too scared to go, but I got a back tooth that...
Yeah, is it got to go?
It's a problem. I saw a meme recently, and it was just a picture of a zombie with a melted face. In it, the caption said, the tooth in the back of my mouth whenever it sees me buy a Gucci belt. I like that. And true. Also, probably. Yeah. So, yeah, this is, we talked about his cocaine treatment in Havana at length a couple episodes ago, so we won't go into it in detail here. But this is a quote from Alfredo Tedeschi, an Argentine TV producer who befriended Maradona during his time in Cuba.
Susan Tedeschi.
Yeah, it's her husband, which is actually Derek Trucks. This is the quote. Coming from such humble beginnings, Castro was his idol. It was like he fell in love. And it did seem like that.
He's a very lovable guy, Castro. People love him. Everybody loves Castro.
Everyone.
Universally beloved Fidel Castro.
He eventually credited Castro and the Cuban healthcare system with saving his life. I mean, for a while.
Yeah,
anyway.
Spoiler alert.
And that support extended to friends of Castro as well. Hugo Chavez was one of them, as is his successor, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, ahead of the 2018 Venezuelan election that eventually led to another U.S. coup attempt. Maradona joined Maduro on stage at a campaign rally, dancing to a reggaeton song and waving the Venezuelan flag. This guy's so cute.
And also we're saying this, but I think a lot of people are picturing like an athlete at his peak doing this. 2018 Maradona, even when he was an athlete at his peak, he was not an athlete at his peak. So 2018 Maradona, the best way to describe him is he looked a little like a tumor.
Yeah.
Like a potato.
Like imagine if Danny DeVito could run. Like that's kind of Maradona's shape.
Yeah.
He's like if Danny DeVito exercised but was still fat, like picture him slimmed down to that degree. They're both about the same height. Yeah. Maradona's 5'5". I don't know how
that's
tall
so
Danny
incredible
DeVito
to be that dominant and that short.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Like it's nuts in the world of professional athletics.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? Like, when Spud Webb and Muggsy Bogues existed in the NBA, we put them on posters just because they made it.
Yeah, Spud Webb wasn't that good of a player. He just won a dunk contest and was very short.
By being able to dunk.
Yeah. So, yeah, also at that campaign rally, he called himself a soldier for Maduro. After Maduro won, Maradona posted this on his Facebook page, on Maradona's, not on Maduro's. Yesterday, Venezuela again gave its support to Nicolas Maduro. The Venezuelans that don't want to be invaded, the good Venezuelans, elected him again to continue the legacy of Commander Hugo Chavez. Today, Venezuela is free forever. To which the CIA said, nuh-uh.
Also, what a dumb sentence. Today, Venezuela is free forever? No, those are conflicting statements.
Just for today, free forever. It's like The Purge.
It's a very... God, man.
Can't wait for that new Purge movie.
I like the Purge movies. I don't know what to say about that.
It's one of my favorite movie franchises. They're fucking great.
They're great. And yet The Conjuring is the one that keeps making all the money? Ridiculous.
Conjuring is garbage.
Ridiculous.
Hate it.
We got to see those fast movies, the Furious ones.
Yeah, July, right? Or is it June?
I've never seen one.
Well, I mean, you saw Hobbs and Shaw. Let's just go in backwards order. We'll see the most recent one next.
Oh, these get way less interesting. There's no space in the third one.
We should watch the upcoming one in theaters and then go home and do a backwards marathon and just watch them all in reverse.
Or just watch 9 with no information about 8 and then do a review on this movie that we have no idea what the previous 8 installments are about.
Oh, yeah. I fell out. Here's controversial. Best Fast and the Furious movie, Tokyo Drift.
I think that's not that controversial.
It's so good.
I think that's why. Didn't they resurrect the dude that died in it?
I think so.
That tells you something about the franchise right there.
There's that. So he also...
Go for it, yeah.
He also said in that Facebook post, I'm very glad Maduro didn't lose because the United States would have taken over everything, just like they're doing in Argentina. I bet the U.S. was really sad to see this guy go.
Sure they were. They were like, oh, no, not soccer. We love it so much. Not the dissident that plays a sport we hate.
Yeah.
It's not like if it was LeBron and half the country would be fucking devastated. That's not the case.
Well, I don't mean the U.S. I mean the U.S. government.
Yeah.
Basically.
Oh, no,
whenever I say the U.S., I'm referring to the government. Yeah. Like, they, I'm sure, were psyched that... Because Maradona was as big as soccer is around the world, he's in so many ways one of the biggest athletes ever.
Yeah. And which is fascinating too. It's funny too. An interesting thing about him is there's a staunch hypocrisy to his existence where he's like essentially a leftist, but also like mega rich and a huge drug addict. And you're like, I feel like these are conflicting ideologies.
Yeah, but I mean, you see that in a lot of leftist leaning regimes. I mean, and what's preferable? That he's rich and doing a lot of cocaine, but with leftist politics, or that he's rich and doing a lot of cocaine and wants abortions abolished and shit like that? Because he would also have a lot of sway in that area too.
Gonna be honest with you, he probably also wants abortions abolished.
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't surprise me. And that makes a decent segue into the person we're talking about next. Definite enemy here, but with a twist, the Pope. What Pope? Any Pope.
Conceptually, the Pope.
Yeah.
This is a man who has called the Pope out loud a son of a bitch. which is my absolute favorite thing, that he called him a son of a bitch.
Yeah, we've already talked about his first Pope visit from back in the day.
And that's John Paul II.
Right. And what we didn't mention about that story. Now, wait, the Pope John Paul II, that one was in the 80s, right?
Correct. That's the shit in the toilet one, or the cocaine in the bathroom. So then there's a 2000 visit. 2000 would still be John Paul II.
Oh.
And then in 2000...
So then he must have gone there twice.
So John Paul II was the Pope up until 2004 or 2005. And then we got Benedict for a little bit, and then we got, what's his name? Francis.
Party Pope.
And Pope Francis is from Argentina.
Yeah.
So that's going to really soften that up.
Yeah. So he must have visited Pope John Paul II twice, because there was that first visit that we've already talked about. Then there was the 2000 visit, which is the visit where the famous gold ceilings quote comes from, where he basically said if the Pope wants to help poor kids so much, maybe he should sell those golden ceilings. And there are articles out there that make it seem like he said the same thing in 2016 to Pope Francis, but he actually did not. There's the way most of these articles are written. For one thing, it's like every source I looked at, the articles were the exact same text. So they must have been coming from like Associated Press or some shit like that.
As a reminder, Benedict the 16th took over in 2005.
Okay.
So it was 2005, and then in 2013 he abdicated, and we got Francis.
Party Pope.
Yeah, we went from Nazi Pope to Party Pope.
Yeah. So he's quoted in all these articles as saying, I went into the Vatican and saw that golden roof, and I said to myself, how could somebody be such a son of a bitch as to live with a golden roof and then go to poor communities and kiss children with a full belly? And that's actually from an earlier visit, not from the 2016 visit, which we'll get to in a second.
But yeah, but it's also, and I think that most people would say that even though the Catholic Church is never going to be quote unquote progressive, that Francis coming in has been a boon for sort of the evolution of the Catholic Church into the modern world, which we had not seen.
Yeah.
It's not great, but it is much better than it used to be.
Yeah. They still have quite a bit of work to do.
They're still the fucking Catholic Church, you know?
Yeah.
Like, there's only so much you can get out of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I have very little regard for the Catholic Church.
Agreed. But what I'm saying is that within the confines of being trapped in the Catholic Church, Pope Francis has done more to progress this institution than anybody has ever before. And also like the people, like the people within the papacy, like the cardinals and stuff, not all of them like him. A lot of people do not like him at all. Like, they fucking hate him.
Yeah, I mean, good for him.
Yeah. But then he'll say shit like, but also, like,
yeah,
don't
like
be gay. You know,
yeah, I mean, like, a cool pope is still the pope, just like a cool cop is still a cop, you know? Like, whatever. So he had that gold ceiling quote, and what a lot of articles leave out that about that first trip is, I have this later in the notes, but we might as well talk about it now. One of the things that he was upset about is the Pope gave him a rosary, gave Maradona a rosary, and Maradona's wife and Maradona's mother. He gave everyone a rosary, and the Pope told him his rosary was special. And when Maradona looked at the three rosaries, he didn't see anything different about his. So he went up to the fucking Pope and said, what's special about mine?
I don't know, man. That doesn't seem like the right question. This is him being a complete asshole, by the way.
Oh, it is.
Like, because here's the deal, is that the Pope should be like, we're all equal under the eyes of God, you complete asshole.
Yeah, I mean,
like, you don't deserve a more special one than the person next to you. That's the whole point.
Well, we don't know how he asked. He might have just been like, what's so special about this one? You said it was special. I mean, you mind if I ask why it's special? Who knows? But in the interview where he revealed all this about the rosary, this was in 2014. So not long before he met Pope Francis, but he was referring to a different pope. He appeared on Argentinian TV for an interview. He was in Cuba for drug rehab once again at the time, but was also pounding whiskey during the interview. Not only did he tell that story about the rosary, he called the Pope a son of a whore twice. That is...
It's bold.
It's very bold. This is one of the quotes about how the Pope reacted to being asked what was so special about that rosary. He wanted to kill me, that son of a whore. Then he said it had been blessed. Maradona.
Oh, man. But you know what? Francis coming in, I guess it was good for the relationship. They sort of started to heal that schism.
Yeah, he said that meeting Pope Francis kind of set him right with the church again.
That's if anybody, like, if you were Catholic in the first place and sort of drifted away, Francis is going to be the guy to pull you back if it's ever going to be an option.
Yeah.
They're probably going to go very much against Francis when he dies, and he's going to die soon. He's in his late 80s. Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things that the Catholic Church is like the United States. There's always going to be some very dramatic cosmetic changes that we make to social issues that we're never really going to address. Well, like the United States has made progress, but also what's the big difference between the civil rights movement and especially the riots that happened in the 60s and the riots that happened in 2020? Yeah. They are over the same thing. They were in the same areas, and that's not the fault of the people living in those areas. It's the fault of the fucking police and the system people are living under.
I think Francis fired a bunch of people. Which
like
is a
Obama
good
did
step forward, I guess.
Obama did a bunch of cool shit too, man.
Look, man, I'm not saying that I'm a fan of the Catholic Church because I'm not. I'm not a fan of them at all. But I would say, like, at least somebody came in and people were like, well, what about all these fucking asshole priests or whatever? And he's like, yeah, I fired them. Like, at least that has been sort of presented where he's like, yeah, I'm doing what I can, which is, I guess, nice. But again, it's still a broken institution that has ruined a lot of lives.
It sure is.
You know what isn't broken at all? Palestine.
Thriving right now.
Great.
They are doing wonderful.
You know who was a big fan of Palestine?
Who, Jeff?
Diego Maradona.
What?
I know.
Is that in the Oh fuck, there it is.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah, he was a big fan.
You don't even like Palestine.
You don't even like Palestine.
You can't just say the thing I said back.
I did. Yeah. You can't just say the thing I said back.
I did.
Whoa.
We're in a loop, motherfucker.
Yeah. Rift. That is a rift in the matrix. So his friendship with Palestine, that probably didn't do much for his standing with the United States. While coaching Dubai's Al Wasl team in 2012, he was quoted as saying, "I am the #1 fan of the Palestinian people. I respect them and sympathize with them. I support this nation's cause since I grew up on struggle and standing against justice."
I like to picture him having like a big foam finger that just says Palestine on it.
Black and white checkered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also doubt that. I doubt Palestine has some bigger fans than Diego Maradona, just judging by some of the fans of Palestine's actions. I think they do have more dedicated followers than Diego Maradona.
It'd be funny if Diego Maradona was in Hamas. He got traded from FC Milan to Hamas.
That's the real cover-up. So earlier that same year, he made headlines when he accepted a Palestinian black and white scarf from a fan. He hugged the fan, thanked him, looked directly at the nearest camera, and said, "Viva Palestina!"
Nice.
Bold.
It's
and
great,
this was way back before, like, white people were getting on that cause. Like, it wasn't then like it is now. Like preaching your love for Palestine was a little different in 2012 as opposed to 2021 when the public has a little more information.
Yeah. The public's like, what do you mean terrorist exactly?
Yeah. It's a very complicated situation.
Speaking of terrorists, Adam.
Speaking of terrorists, another enemy of Diego Maradona, George W. Bush, famed war criminal George W. Bush.
Inventor of 9/11.
Yeah. Or at least benefactor of 9/11, if nothing else. I mean, him and everyone around him. Bush.
And us.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Red Sox fan, so you know.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yikes.
So Bush, a thing people don't know about George Bush, he spent a significant amount of his post-presidential life trying to repatriate American Jews to Israel on account of how half of the world's Jews need to be in Israel for his chosen version of the apocalypse to happen. That is all true, people. It's called dispensationalism. Is the doctrine at work there. And that's what George W. Bush has dedicated a lot of his post-presidential career to. So just the Palestine stance probably would have made him an enemy of the Bush administration. But he probably hated Maradona well before that.
I mean, just by being friends with Castro is probably a pretty...
And Chavez, because Bush is the president, or was in office when we first tried to remove Chavez by way of a coup that worked. He was taken away in a helicopter, but the protests from the people of Venezuela were so intense, we just fucking let him take his job back. Because here's the thing, they voted for him. That's not usually how a dictatorship works, but that's fine. So Bush was on a tour of Latin America in 2005.
Bad idea.
Yeah. This is at a point when his poll numbers were especially low on account of all the war crimes he was committing in Iraq. And when he arrived in Argentina, he was met with violent protests. Good for you, Argentina. Even better, Bush was there for a regional summit, so Diego Maradona attended a counter summit that ended up getting way more attention from the public. At the protest, man, if I could find this shirt, I would buy one. Maradona wore a shirt that said "Stop Bush," but the S in Bush was a swastika. That's fucking great.
Who among us?
I
bet you could find that on TeePublic. No, they probably block out the swastika, huh?
Yeah, they'd probably. It reminds me of a shirt I had back during the Bush administration that said, "Please don't kill Bill O'Reilly," but "Please don't" was in really tiny font at the top, and then the "Kill Bill O'Reilly" part was just fucking huge. Fun shirt.
I love it. Adam, I love it. It's great.
He was also quoted as saying this during his address to the crowd: "I'm proud as an Argentine to repudiate the presence of this human trash, George Bush. Argentina has its dignity. Let's throw Bush out of here." Fuck yeah.
I mean, a bold stance, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. I mean, probably in South America at the time, it wasn't that bold of a stance.
Of course not. Fucking Hershey is taking over half of this fucking continent or whatever.
Yeah.
Or are they Africa? No, they're causing shit in Africa, right?
Yeah, Hershey is Africa. South wild? America, it's...
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, Coca-Cola's usually killing people down there.
Dole. Chiquita.
Chiquita. The Dole and Chiquita, these days, it's usually more with pesticides and things.
Fair. Coca-Cola is, they're the ones that are like they're super war criminals down there.
Yeah, Coca-Cola in South America, they're like, "Oh, you want to form a union?
We're going to murder you."
Yeah, let us call somebody. And then a fucking army shows up and murders you.
Yeah, fucking. It always blows me away whenever you like think about Hershey and you're like, "Hey, it's the fun little chocolate people." And they're like, "We are murdering people in Africa in our fucking nightmare world."
So let's talk about another friend of Diego Maradona. Maradona made friends with South American leftist leader Evo Morales of Bolivia in 2008. He was that country's first president to come from its indigenous population, something the U.S. famously proved they hate when Venezuela had the gall to elect a non-white leader in Hugo Chavez.
Disgusting.
First non-white person to run Venezuela, which is insane. Morales immediately set about implementing a whole bunch of leftist policies and fighting against U.S. and corporate influence within Bolivia's borders. I'm sure America was fine with that and did absolutely nothing to end his regime.
I mean, why would you?
What
you just
point
let things happen?
Yeah. So you want our businesses out of there? Fine. We'll take the customers with us.
We'll just take off. It's fine.
Yeah, we're going to leave. So anyway,
in
2008, Maradona traveled to Bolivia to take part in a charity match to help victims of massive flooding in Bolivia. The entry fee for the game was a pack of rice, pasta, or powdered milk, which that's cool. Maradona led a team of retired Argentinian players. Evo Morales captained a team of retired Bolivian players. Maradona scored 3 goals, even though he was just a total chonk by this point.
Good for
There's
him.
a picture of him. I'll link to one of the articles. You'll have to click through to the article to see it. But the picture of him scoring one of those goals, it just looks absurd.
It's great. He's so fucking talented, man.
And he's so fat.
It just goes to remind you of like even an athlete who is out of shape is still better than you'll ever be. That's, that was, and did I mention this on this pod? But I remember it was like a thing where like somebody challenged Brian Scalabrine, and he just destroyed them. And he said, I think in an interview, something on the lines of, "You need to understand, I'm closer to LeBron than you are to me."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which is such a dominant thing to say when you come out of that. So I love that show, Pros versus Joes. I fucking loved that show so much.
There's like 500 some NBA players. So as long as you're in the league, you're among the 500 best players in the world. Like they draft players from all around the world.
Yeah, I saw the air up there. I know.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the deepest bench warmer in any sport is significantly better than you'll ever be at that sport.
No matter how much you practice, too.
Yeah, practice. Talking about practice?
Yeah, Allen Iverson doesn't even want to talk about practice. That's how good he is.
So the reason for this match, it wasn't just for charity. It was also meant as a protest against a recent FIFA ruling that banned international matches at stadiums located higher than 2,750 meters above sea level. I don't think I need to tell anyone that's 9,022 feet, obviously. Ban was put in place to protect players from the supposed dangers of competing in high-altitude environments. I don't have any real opinion on this, but I will say 9,000 feet is way the fuck up there.
Yeah, man, it's mountainous.
It's damn near 2 miles. And people say there's an advantage to playing in... But I don't know how that would be an advantage. I guess just because you're more used to it.
That's exactly correct. Yeah,
the home team. Yeah.
If you play at an elevated level, then obviously it's going to be a lot easier for you to do that. You know?
Yeah. And so Maradona called the ban ridiculous and shameful and accused FIFA of, quote, playing with the passion of the Bolivian people.
This is an interesting argument because this is an argument where both sides are like not wrong. Like
Here's why Maradona's side is right, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And I have this in the notes also. The reason this ban was eventually overturned, every soccer club from every South American country except Brazil wanted this ban lifted.
Yeah, of course.
In Brazil, their average altitude is about 1,000 feet above sea level. So if we know anything about Brazil, it's that they are one of the most dominant teams in soccer history. Mm-hmm. So the altitude's clearly not affecting them that much.
The line that really pays it off for me is when he says, "We have shown FIFA that it's possible to run on this pitch." And then he says the line that really knocks it out, which is, "You have the right to play where you were born." That to me is the one where I'm like, I totally get it. And then at the same time, it's like, but I also get why FIFA was a little concerned about the advantage that one might have if you were playing a team that was not used to it. Would be like,
but home field advantage is a thing. Like,
yeah, that's just a very literal version of it.
Yeah.
It's just I get it. It's not, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just like, oh, I totally get why they have that rule.
Yeah. And they overturned it a year later. So actually, I think the same year because it was March. Yeah, it was 2008 when they played this match too. Maybe that's what did it. See, there was actually someone, I didn't put it in the notes, but someone involved in this played a match at something like 6,000 meters above sea level, just to
Machu Picchu?
Prove that it wouldn't kill you. And how funny would it have been if he died?
Very.
It's so funny.
Anybody that high, if they die, is funny.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean, that's just science.
So let's talk about his last political enemy. As I said, these aren't all necessarily political, and I was talking about this one.
This is political.
Yeah, I mean,
just
FIFA is
kind of politics.
It's a different kind of politics, but FIFA and especially Sepp Blatter were frequent targets of protests from Maradona, and in his defense, everyone hated Sepp Blatter.
Sepp Blatter is an infamous asshole.
Sepp Blatter would be a good one-off episode of this podcast. He was a fucking master criminal. That's what Sepp Blatter was. And His most notable criticism was the time in 2015 when he wrote a whole ass editorial for the UK publication The Telegraph, where he went hard as shit at FIFA over their various corruption scandals. Here's some quotes. Once it was a sport you could be proud of, a sport that united the world. But FIFA, its governing body, has turned into a playground for the corrupt.
Show me the
I agree
lie.
with the last sentence, not so sure about uniting the world.
Well, except for the important part. It does unite most of the world, just not the most important part of it, which is the United States of America. Because we're already united. So what do we care?
Yeah, there's no divisions here. And I guess the World Cup kind of unites the world, but even then, it's like, I know 90% of you don't watch soccer when this isn't happening.
You know what the World Cup unites is people that like to wear Manchester United scarves at work. So they can be like, oh, you don't know? I've been up since 4 a.m. watching football at my local pub.
Yeah, or unless you decide to take an impromptu trip to Los Angeles's only Long John Silver's, which is in Van Nuys, at a point where the World Cup is happening. And then those scarves are a different color. A lot of Mexican national team fans. I drove into, like I didn't drive into, I'm not, I don't mean it that way. But I was trying to hit the LJS and there was just a massive celebration for the Mexican national team.
To be fair,
just in the street. I still went to LJS.
Of course.
I just parked up the block and walked.
The Mexican national team is going to get most of the Los Angeles representation, except for the parts where we're gentrifying.
Right. Well, Santa Monica, which is basically England.
Yes.
They love some Brits.
Yeah. Which
Santa
British
Monica.
pub in Santa Monica are you going to go to watch the match on the pitch?
Yeah. Oh, shut up. Just sounds gross.
Actually, there's always like every guy that's a fan looks like he's took a break from writing his dissertation to get his librarian doctorate.
This is another quote. Under Sepp Blatter, FIFA has become a disgrace and a painful embarrassment to those of us who care about football deeply.
Sure. Don't disagree.
Another one. I call Blatter the man of ice because he lacks the inspiration and passion that are at the very heart of football. If this is the face of international football, we are in a very bad place. I can tell you he's not the face of American football. So there's that.
Yeah, that's the Boz.
Yeah, Brian Bosworth. He does look like the Boz a little bit. He also looks like Dauber from Coach. Remember Coach?
Oh, yeah.
It's a good show.
That was a great show. I didn't appreciate it. I was too young at the time.
Yeah, it's good.
Jerry Van Dyke knocked it out of the park on that show.
Yeah. This, I like this next quote a lot. There is a sick admiration for Blatter, much like that accorded to an old mafia boss who has somehow managed to stay out of jail.
And he doesn't stop.
Last quote, but we'll link to the whole article if you want to read it. Why is this dodgy 79-year-old running for a fifth term at FIFA anyway? Which that's a good question just in and of itself.
Yeah. It's like owning the Clippers.
Yeah.
Why?
And I saw there was another quote in the article where he mentions that nowhere where democracy is a thing do they allow 5 terms for a president. So why at FIFA? Like, why can you just be a dictator at FIFA?
I think that's because FIFA is not a nation, to be fair.
Well, yeah, but that's not like he was. I don't think he was saying it literally.
I want a Scotch egg now, by the way.
I've never had one.
They're so good. They're so good.
I need my egg like soft boiled. I don't like a chalky yolk.
A Scotch egg, I mean, I think you can get them soft boiled, like sometimes depending on where you get them.
Burger King?
A Burger King Scotch egg.
Yeah,
Scotch egg Whopper here at Burger King. At
Have it
Ye
your
Olde
way.
Burger King Tavern.
So Maradona clearly had a point with all of this because a year later, Sepp Blatter was hit with a 6-year suspension from all football-related activities as a result of just one of his corruption scandals.
Can we just not breeze past the fact that Sepp Blatter sounds like a medical condition?
It's a terrible name.
Yeah.
It's one of the worst names.
That is the name of a diehard terrorist.
Like, do you think if someone named Sepp Blatter ran for president in the United States, like, I don't think we won't even elect someone with a beard. We're certainly not going to elect a Sepp Blatter.
We'll elect Dan Crenshaw with a beard, but because he, we gave him a, well, Texas did.
Wink.
I'm gonna vote for that dipshit. But it's because he's missing an eye because he's bad at war.
Yeah. He's just bad.
He's bad at everything.
Now, Maradona's relationship with FIFA did improve pretty dramatically after that because FIFA had a new president, Gianni Infantino. And
much less mafia sounding name.
Yeah. Gianni Infantino. He made a concerted effort to involve former players in FIFA activities. That included making several former players, including Maradona, official FIFA members in 2017.
What a great way to do this, because you were enemies and now you're friends.
Yeah, I mean, it's the natural progression of things.
And Gianni Infantino, if I recall, said something like, in a recognition of his outstanding and a unique contribution to football, FIFA is looking for the best way to collaborate with Diego Armando Maradona, ensuring he has a major role in all of FIFA's activities to promote the game across the globe through his involvement in relevant development projects and the FIFA Legends program. Suffice it to say, he's so nice.
That was a clip of Gianni Infantino. Was that his name? I had to guess it because I lost it in the notes.
Gianni Infantino, huh?
Infantino, yeah. That was a clip of him talking. Jeff, I hope you were able to take a break or something during that.
Yeah, I did. I take and this is actually a very interesting one. I'm going to play this clip right here. Diego Maradona, he make a nice sauce. Which was a weird thing to say in your press conference, but honestly, that's good. It's good to know about sort of people's backgrounds. It gives
and
color.
To mention how fresh it was. It's not going to even if you send it with us, it's not going to be that fresh when we get home. So why even point that out?
But still, it is. Yeah,
still, I would take that sauce. This is a quote from Maradona. Yes, it's now official. I can finally fulfill one of the dreams of my life. To work for a clean and transparent FIFA with people who love football. And now they're building the 2022 World Cup with slave labor.
Perfect. Yeah, that's the best way he put it. To put it in Maradona terms, FIFA has no longer been stepped on.
What?
That's a cocaine reference.
Oh, okay. I get it.
It's called stepped on. No, it would have been better if you got it if I didn't have to explain it. But that's on me. I should have known. You don't even like cocaine.
I actually don't like cocaine. I'm not a big stimulants don't do that much for me. So that's the end.
That's the end of the show of the life, huh?
Those are the political friends and enemies of Diego Maradona. He had others, I'm sure, but these were the prominent ones. He was a big political guy. He was just a big guy. I mean, not big. He was a wide guy.
He was a little brick wall running at you with them diamond feet.
He's a stocky little soccer machine. Oof. What that guy was. And makes a great transition to let you know what our next and final episode of this season is about. The death of Diego Maradona.
The grisly murder of Diego Maradona.
Still unfolding. Yeah. It might end up being classified that way, but it's a pretty crazy story. It'll be a shorter episode than usual because
it is in process.
It is I didn't want to wait 18 months for the trial to work itself out.
But expect a follow-up episode in 18 months.
Yeah, it would be funny if we just did weeks and weeks and weeks of one-off episodes.
It's about watching the trial, like it's the OJ trial. Imagine if podcasts existed during the OJ trial.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God. That would have been the worst.
That would have been exhausting.
We should get Lance Ito on a show.
Oh, we should. Yeah.
On this show.
I don't see why he wouldn't do it.
On the OJ, when we do our OJ season, have Lance Ito on.
Yeah. I'm into it.
He'd do it.
So,
I'm into it.
I don't get it.
Judge
Normally
Ito's
people
name
say
is
into
into without the N. It was ITO. And into
shit,
with
you're
INTO. Yeah.
I never, yeah. Shit.
You didn't know that? I used to misspell his name all the time when I put it on birthday cakes and stuff.
Okay, yeah. Now it's ringing a bell.
Happy birthday, Judge Into. And I'd be like, fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
When you were decorating cakes. Yeah. I remember that. Jeff, you don't even like sports. Do you have anything to plug before we get out of here?
I'll tell you what, I do have cool friends. And you can check out Jeff Has Cool Friends, the podcast about my cool friends, where I have them on and talk to them about stuff. And that is available at patreon.com/JeffMay for the early release episodes that are uncensored. And you can also check it out for free a week after it drops. It drops on Tuesdays. You can check it out censored a little bit later, but it's still the show. You can also check out Tom and Jeff Watch Batman on the Gamefully Unemployed Network. And then my normal other plugs are this and Unpop. So don't need to.
Never heard of them.
Don't need to say that. Well, they're not. It's not. You don't even like podcasts about sports.
I know. Well, yeah. I mean, there's that. Yeah. We don't. I'm going to add extra curse words to this podcast for Patreon listeners. Well, I don't have anything to plug. Patreon.com/unpops, unpopsnetwork.supercast.tech. There's a whole bunch of new subscription options. Some things have gotten cheaper. Some things are more expensive now. Go check it out.
Either way, there's a nice good deal, huh?
And we're also going to have another way for people to subscribe soon. But I don't think I can talk about that
Through the mail.
Yeah, it's going to be...
We'll send you a tape.
It's going to be like Columbia House.
Yeah,
we send you 8 podcasts for a penny.
I'm going to send you a Memorex tape from every episode.
As an NFT.
Ooh.
You don't get how NFTs work, do you? Yeah, it's on this tape.
Yeah. Nice fucking tape. Here it is.
All right, let's get out of here. Jeff, say goodbye.
Before I do, I would like to say one thing, and that is an absolute best of luck to my man Don West, who is currently found out that he has lymphoma in the brain. And so I will say this right now. You get the Don West rookie card, everybody.
Oh, Don West, that sucks. All right, goodbye, everybody. We love you.
I hope I don't die.